Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In the last video, we bolted the heads onto the block. We leak checked the system. We did a cylinder leak down. Everything looks good, so mechanically the engine is pretty much ready. All we're waiting on now is the camshafts for them to come back from the grinder. So until then, we're going to be working on the brains of the system. As you know, we're going to be running a FuelTech. We've got dual drive-by-wire throttle bodies. We got a bunch of sensors that we'll be adding, changing from the stock setup. Smart coils. We'll be running a bulkhead connector to run our new fuse box inside with the computer. So the first order of business is going to be taking apart the stock harness because we want all the colors. So we're working on the injector harness right now. To get the injector harness to work, we're going to be splicing in the Ford connectors that we got. The reason we have to do this is because we can't just depin the old US car connector, because the terminal is actually different than the EV1 or the Jetronic connector that we got from old Ford F-150s and really any old Ford vehicle. You might ask why we can't just use a Jetronic or EV1 connector from like eBay since there's so many of them. Well, this is what we got, and it hits the valve cover of the head when it's plugged on the intake. So we can't use this connector, and it uses a mini timer or micro timer terminal, so this won't work in that connector. So we've only got one option. We can't find these. If you guys know anywhere or what they're called, let us know. But we could not find these, so we had to cut the end of wire and then just splice it on. So regarding the splice, we talked about it last time. What we decided to do was use barrel, so just copper solid barrel terminals, and then crimp it with just a hand crimper. And then for the heat shrink, we're using 3-to-1 heat shrink with adhesive lining in there, so that you could see that's puking out the side. So we think that'll work good and seal everything up. So we're done with this injector harness. We're going to go ahead and move on to the coils. All right, so we're just at the junkyard getting some more wire because we don't have enough wire to match colors. So
we found another V10, so we're just gonna pull Coil Harness
and sacrifice its life for the cause.
There you go.
Look at what we found here. Nice Mac. It's like super skinny wrench, but it's like stuck on this bolt, so they must have not taken it.
Oh, there it is.
Fuck, there we go.
That's a
warning
real tool, dude.
Lord torque use.
I wonder how much this cost.
0. That's how much.
All right, so I'm working on the coil harness here. We decided to repurpose the stock Ford harness. What we had to do that is, well, obviously we had to cut off all the stock connectors. These are 2-wire, and if you guys remember, we're using K-series coils, which have 3 wires. These are smart coils. The reason why we wanted to repurpose the Ford stock harness is because each coil was, the signal wire is color-coded, and we wanted to keep that. We think it's nice to have a color-coded signal wire for each connector, and then all the powers have the same color, and the ground wire we're adding, they're all black, so everything matches. The lengths are all where they need to be. We've already placed it on the engine. We have new connectors we bought, and we have boots, and we're waiting for the right terminals. I bought some that were too small, so we gotta get new ones. But this is almost done. I just have to finish crimping all the grounds, and we should be able to throw this back on the engine, get all the convolute, shrink wrap everything, and we'll be ready to start plugging in the pins for the ECU. So for the throttle bodies, like we said, we have our 2 drive-by-wire throttle bodies we have to route into the harness. So what we did, we went to the junkyard and we got the connector pigtails for these throttle bodies. So we're just splicing into these connectors, just like we did with the injectors. So we also decided to route the branch that comes into the throttle bodies inside or under the intake. You know, we have a lot of room in there, and we think it looks good that we can hide all the wires so you don't see anything outside of the valve covers or anything like that. So we have our 2 throttle body branches already spliced into here, so 1 per side. We also added here the sub harness for the coolant temperature sensor, so that's going to go there. And then on this side, we also have this one. We also have 2 things. We have the cam position sensor, and then we're also adding the air temperature sensor. So that's all going. That's all part of this sub harness going under the intake. All right, so we're pretty much done with routing and wiring all the engine harness sides. We have all our branches ready to go. Everything's going to the throttle body here, the injectors, the coils, we got that done, alternator, AC, all of that stuff's ready to go. All we have left to do now is tidy everything up, convolute it, heat shrink it, and that'll be it for the engine harness. And in the meantime, Jack is also working on the other side of the harness, inside of the cabin. So he's got all the wires, connectors, everything laid out.
Yeah, so this is going on, all this stuff's on the other side of the bulkhead. We have like 50 circuits total going into the car to the ECU. So these are all our wires. These are going to be 6-foot run that we're going to just terminate to plug into the ECU to start it. And the inside part will be done. So this is the bulkhead we're going to be using for this build. It has 30 smaller circuits and 3 larger ones for higher current stuff. And these just go together with like a lever lock. And that's what the bulkhead, this side will get mounted on the firewall. This will go to the engine, so we could disconnect the engine and drop it if we need to. We got legit TE terminals to go into this housing, all the cable seals. So we're gonna be taking all the wires that need to go pass through the firewall and crimping on these terminals onto them, and then putting them into the header. So we got the 2 harnesses that go into the car all made up with the connectors attached to the bulkheads. But we're going to try to do the motorsports concentric twisting on these guys and put them into one loom up to the computer. So the first step in doing that is to put in what they call service loops, or I think they're like strain relief loops here. That's going to allow us to depin these. And I really think what it does is gives us a lot of flexibility in the end of the connector, because when it's solid like this, you could feel it's rigid. It doesn't want to, bend around. So we're going to get those put into the wires, and then we're going to start the concentric winding all the way through. We got the concentric twisting done. We try to follow what HP Academy got. We think we got pretty close, and here it is.
Nailed it.
Complete shit. So it looks like trash, but we're gonna be able to put this into the thing in one loom. But this is like the wiring harness you would get from Wish if you were to order one. So this is the Wish twisted concentric twisting harness.
Alright, so we got the bulk of the engine harness done. You can see we have it all laid out. All the connectors or the terminals have been spliced in, taped up the way they're supposed to be on the engine. The next step is going to be heat shrinking everything using convolute. We have all the sizes we're going to need. So we're using this braided sleeve to make it look nice and tidy. We have like 5 different sizes we'll need, and to heat shrink all the branches and all the connections, we're using the same adhesive lined heat shrink. So we're going to be diving into this now, and we should be ready to finish this up, cut it to length, and crimp the bulkhead connectors to it. Alright, after 3 days on my knees and my ass, the harness, or the engine side of this harness, is all wrapped and heat shrinked. So the next step is going to be cutting this side to length and crimp all the terminals so we can mate it to Jack's internal harness. So he's finishing that up. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it back on the engine, make sure everything's where it should be, and then cut that to length. Alright, so we got our main harness finished and our internal harness. Now we got to move on to the power, the distribution. So we got this Bussmann fuse block with relays. It's a big one, got 10 relays, 20 fuses. We won't be using all of them, but just in case for growth in the future, we'll have it available. We kind of laid out what we're going to be doing, so we're just going to have to replicate this in real life. We got all our Delphi or Aptiv terminals, all the cable seals, all that good stuff. So we're going to be crimping on a little bit and wiring this thing up. I don't know about you guys, but we're over time lapses. But we finally have both harnesses finished. This is the inside harness. This is the fuse box we're working on. It's already populated. We got 6 relays and then all the fuses going in. It's pretty simple actually. The bottom side has all the wiring, you know, as it needs to go to different fuses and relays. So this thing is done. We have all the grounds ready for the vehicle. This is all communication. And then this is the engine harness. So this is the first time we're going to be connecting these bulkheads together. They're all populated. Let's see how they pull together. See that sound? Alrighty, so now
We're gonna do one final check. We're doing a continuity test from the computer plug. We haven't plugged that in yet to everything to make sure we don't have any shorts or any weird problems.
Any wires crossed.
Yeah, because we do not want to fry our ECU. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna get to plug it in and power it up. So we had a problem with the pedal. We had our power and ground switch from what we had in what we saw we needed in the wiring diagram. So we had to switch these guys around. Luckily that's all it was. We couldn't get it working, but now we can calibrate it. So let's see if we get double throttle bodies moving. Some noise, but didn't like it. Motor 1 signals may be disconnected, but 2 signals may be disconnected.
All right, so we're trying to figure out issue number 2. We're having a hard time with the ECU calibrating.
Who would have thunk, right?
The dual throttle bodies, which of course, the pedal works now, Jack said, right? And then, here, grab the camera. If I actuate the pedal, you can see now, we have all 700 to 800 horsepower, or actually half of them.
Yeah, half.
So,
well, no, we got this one. This one's
full open.
Yeah, so wide open throttle at idle, it's making 350. Yeah.
So the calibration works with one, but when we plug in the other one, it doesn't want to work. So we're thinking something's wrong with the wiring.
Watch this. This is where it gets weird.
Don't mind that buzzing sound.
So wire.
Plug it in, nothing happens, but if you actuate the pedal.
Now it's only supposed to be commanding 1.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah, when you release the pedal, this one opens, but it doesn't follow. So, I mean, this shouldn't be working anyways, because technically we calibrated it as a single throttle body just to make sure everything worked. So as a single, it works, but obviously we need to get it to work with the dual. So we're gonna try and mess around with the wiring, figure out what else is wrong, and then we can move on to all the outputs, which this was really the hardest thing, I think, because we had no idea if it was gonna work, so. Oh, this one's a little delayed the whole time?
The whole time, yeah. You watched the first one.
No, I was here. You were like,
before it was super fast.
no,
Wait.
no, this was the good one. This was on this side.
Yeah, that one was super fast. Okay, 2A.
Purple.
Wait, oh, why is it?
It should be gray.
Gray?
Yeah. Good?
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Ready?
No. Okay. Ramp it up, ramp it up. Yeah, 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 yes, yes!
Yeah, okay. See, this makes sense. Yeah, like, you know, 1A follows 2A, right? They both start at like 1 volt. B's start at like 4.5, but then as you apply pedal, it switches.
Okay. So they're tracking each other.
Yeah, they're tracking each other.
So the FuelTech pinout.
Sorry guys, I gotta say your pinout sucks balls.
The motors are reversed, so the motors look to be right.
No, the position was right when we had it initially. When we did it wrong, it was right.
For the position, but the motors we didn't touch, or we had to change them once, but we didn't have to change it back. But positions we had to change.
Yeah.
So their naming convention for the motors is 1 or A's go together. and
Yes.
B's go together.
For precision, ones go together and twos go together. So if you're doing a dual throttle body FuelTech, make sure you remember that.
All right, we're gonna go through and test all the ignition, make sure the coils are firing, and make sure all the injectors are firing. There's a way to test that out here.
You can just test every single one of your outputs. So you have your ignition and your injectors. So what are we testing first?
Let's do ignition first.
Okay, cool.
All right, we'll do cylinder 1. Yep, do cylinder 2. Okay, good. 3. Good. 4. Okay, that one's not as spicy.
That's cute.
Hold on. Make it spicier. Go. Huh.
I didn't even.
That one might need a coil. Okay, next. 5. Go again. Yeah, all right. Another 6.
6?
Yeah.
6 should be. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, that wasn't 6.
What?
That
Oh,
was-
7. There should be 7. 7.
Oh.
7.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
7.
2 and 9.
9. Oh, hold on. You don't even let me get there. 9. Okay, go. Yeah. All right.
Okay. And it should be 6.
6. Okay. Yep.
10.
10. Okay. Yep.
And this one is 8.
8.
Yep.
8. Alrighty. So they're all.
Yeah, we're doing wasted parts like we said before, so they're fired in pairs.
Yeah.
All right, and then so that's good for coil. So now we have ignition and throttle calibrated, or
Hit me
how
with
it
the
works.
4 again.
4. Maybe it's a spark plug.
Yeah, I mean it is a bad spark.
Oh, it's
I mean they're all.
same. Where's
No,
this
it's
from?
different. I don't know.
All right, and then you want now injectors, right?
Yeah, do injectors.
All right, injectors. So here's 1.
Yep.
Yeah,
2. Okay. 3. Yep. 4. Okay. 5. Alrighty. 6. Yep. 7. Okay. 8. 9. And 10. Yep.
Well, that's it. Everything. Well, the last thing we have to do is calibrate the sensors, but we're not going to do that yet because we don't have to. So now at least we know the ECU is wired correctly. This thing should start the moment we get cams in. So, and that's good. The harness is done. We're done with electrical.
All right, so we finished up the wiring. We got everything tested. Everything's working. We got both throttle bodies moving together. So that's a success. We thought that was going to be.
Touch me again. I'll kill you.
Those throttle bodies, they scream like a banshee.
Yeah, they're freaking.
I don't know if you guys could hear it on
that-
there, but
I don't know if that will come on the camera, but
it
we gotta
is.
finish this outro quick because my ears are about to pop.
I'm going to shut it off now.
Okay, good.
Woo! All right, so all we did this video was really do the wiring harness. We only have one item on there. It was a big item, but you know, this is the only satisfaction we're gonna get crossing off the list. So electrical harness is done. Now it's just waiting for cams, odds and ends. So that's it for this video. The next video, we're gonna be putting together an engine stand or a starting stand. So we wanna be able to fire this thing up without putting it in the car. So we're gonna be mounting a transmission on here, get some exhaust on here, and then making up a stand to set this thing on. That way we could have an radiator and cooling fan so we can warm it up, mount the FuelTech and the power distribution box, get this thing lit off once we get the cam. So we're gonna be working on that next. So we appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.